Ancient Greek architecture were produced by the Hellenic people where their culture flourished from about 900 BC to the 1st century AD, with their earliest remaining architecture dating back to around 600 BC. Ancient Greek architecture are best known for their temples. The temples I will be talking about is the Temple of Poseidon, also known as the Temple of Isthmia, that was built during the Archaic period. It was first excavated by a man named Oscar Bronier. He dated the site to be from about 700 BC, basing it on a wooden peristyle made in a Doric fashion that he found. Later, the archaeologist was able to date the site from anywhere between 690 to 650 BC to better fit the historical source from Herodotus, who had originally written that the temple was built during the rule of Cypselus in 657 BC. The site was dedicated for Poseidon and was also where they worshipped him. The site at the isthmus was a great spot for the structure since many travelers passed through the land. Any traveler who needed to cross isthmus would also pass by the temple, which draws in more visitors. Due to its location being near the port, merchants and traders arrived, allowing dedications to be made, which helps because there were coins found at the temple from at least 9 different city-states. The temple and Isthmia both prospered because of the Isthmian Games, which originated from about 584 BC. The Isthmian Games were similar to the Olympic Games, but also had chariot racing, pancration, wrestling, boxing, and musical competition. There is also evidence that showed that women were allowed to participate in these games. At around 480 BC, the temple was destroyed by fire. However, at about 465 BC, the temple was rebuilt and was also larger. Throughout most of the 3rd century, the Macedonian king used Corinth as one of their most strategic garrisons. In around 200 BC, the Romans came and liberated Greece from Macedonian control. The Roman general Flaminius chose Isthmian Games to announce the liberation of Greece. 50 years later, the Romans were less forgiving to Greece and General Mummius ordered Corinth to be destroyed, which included Isthmia. The Temple of Poseidon was destroyed and the Isthmian Games were then controlled by the Corinth neighbors Sicyon.
The statue of Zeus at Olympia, Greece, was one of the 7 wonders of the world. The statue was one of the 2 masterpieces by Greek sculptor Phidias and was placed in the huge temple of Zeus at Olympia in western Greece. Judith N. Barninger, an author for the book named Statue of Zeus at Olympia, New Approaches, states that the colossal seated statue of Zeus was legendary already in antiquity. Its size and splendor, together with its richly decorated throne, were remarked in with admiration by numerous ancient writers. And although the work itself no longer survives, we have lengthy descriptions of it, together with briefer mentions by ancient authors. In ancient times, one of the Greeks' most important festivals, the Olympic Games, was held every 4 years in honor of the king of their gods, Zeus. The games helped unify the Greek city-states, and a sacred truce was declared. The temple was very similar to the Parthenon in Athens, and the temple in Artemis in Ephesus. Though the temple was considered one of the best examples of the Doric design, it was decided the temple was too simple to be worthy of the king of the gods. To fix this, a statue of Zeus himself was constructed in the interior. Mark Cartwright states in an article on the Ancient History Encyclopedia website that the statue of the deity inside was far more important than the temple itself. The figure was typically placed in the center of the building so that when its doors were opened, it could look out upon the sacrifices and ceremonies being performed just outside in the god's honor. The statue of Zeus was over 40 feet tall and represented the god seated on the throne. The Zeus statue was a combination of gold and ivory over a wooden core, with the god's skin made of ivory and its beard, robes, and staff rendered in gold. Fine details were picked out using a wide variety of materials such as silver, copper, glass, ebony, enamel, paint, and jewels. Zeus's throne was decorated with relief sculptures depicting a wide range of figures from Greek mythology, many of which were considered the offspring of Zeus. On his outstretched right hand was a statue of Nike, and in the god's left hand was a scepter, on which an eagle was perched. It is not known entirely how the sculpture was lost or destroyed, but there is a consensus between historians that it was burned in a fire. Some historians state that it was carried off to Constantinople, where it was destroyed in the Great Fire of the Palace of Lassus in 475 AD. Others claim that the statue perished along with the temple, which was severely damaged by fire in 425 AD.